Hi, I'm Essex County Clerk Chris Durkin, and welcome to County Clerk TV. And I'm standing here in front of Gutzon Borglum's statue of our nation's 16th president, Abraham Lincoln. And in this episode, I would like to talk with you about the Electoral College. And you know, the Electoral College is not an institution of higher learning, but it's how we elect our president. Every 4 years, on the first Tuesday after the first Monday in November, this year being November 4th, Americans walk into voting booths all across the country to elect, among other officials, the President and Vice President of the United States. But unlike most elections where the winner of the popular vote wins the election, the winner of the office of President needs to win the Electoral College. We need to go back 221 years to the Constitutional Convention of 1787 to find out how the Electoral College came to be. Some of the delegates at the convention wanted the winner of the popular vote to win the presidency. Some of the delegates wanted Congress to decide who the president would be. A compromise was struck, and that compromise was the Connecticut Compromise, and it turned out to be the Electoral College. But we would not call it the Electoral College till 1845, when it was officially written into our federal law. The Electoral College has been controversial in its history, with people having strong views for and against it. People against it feel the winner of the popular vote should lead our country, and people for it say that small states are more represented by the current system. But it is part of our Constitution and can only be changed through an amendment to our Constitution. So let's show you how the Electoral College really works. Each state has a certain number of electors that add up to 535. And even though Washington, D.C. is not a state, they have 3 electors, which gives us a grand total of 538 electoral votes. So let's break it down. There are 2 United States senators in each of our 50 states. That gives us 100 electors. And there are 435 representatives in the United States Congress. Each state has a certain number of those 435 congresspeople based on that state's population. Here in New Jersey, we have 13 members of Congress. And because of California's enormous population, they have 53 members of Congress. The state of Texas, 32 members of Congress. States like Rhode Island and Wyoming only have 1 member of Congress because of their small populations. So we have 100 United States senators and 435 members of Congress and 3 electoral votes from the District of Columbia. That gives us that grand total of 538 electoral votes. In 48 states, the Electoral College is a winner-take-all system. For example, in New York State, if a candidate wins by 1 vote or 1 million votes, they win all 31 electoral votes. There are only 2 states out of our 50 states that don't have a winner-take-all system, and these states are Nebraska and Maine. Both of those states have the same system, so we'll take Nebraska as an example. Nebraska has 3 congressional districts and 2 U.S. senators. For every congressional district a candidate wins, that candidate receives an electoral vote. And if you win the popular vote statewide, you get 2 electoral votes based on those 2 United States senators. A candidate for president must win 1 more than half of the 538 electoral votes. So the magic number is 270 electoral votes to win the presidency. The electors chosen on Election Day meet in their respective state capitals on the first Monday after the second Wednesday in December, this year being December 15th, to cast their vote for President and Vice President of the United States. Now, there have been 4 times in United States history where the candidate who won the most popular votes lost the election because they did not win enough electoral votes. The most recent was in the year 2000, when Al Gore won the most votes but lost the Electoral College to George Bush. It also happened in the years 1824, 1876, and 1888. And there have been 2 times in our history when none of the candidates for president received the majority of electoral votes and Congress picked the president. That happened in the year 1800 and 1824. This presidential election has been a roller coaster ride of emotions for all Americans. And there is always that possibility that for the first time in America's history, a presidential election could end in a tie, with both John McCain and Barack Obama each winning 269 electoral votes. If that happens, the 12th Amendment requires that all 435 members of the House of Representatives go into immediate session to break the tie. Each state's delegation would have a single vote, and to be elected, a candidate would have to receive an absolute majority of states, which is 26 out of our 50 states, to become the president-elect. As an example of how a state would decide on who to cast its vote for, the state of Florida, which has 25 members of the House of Representatives, 16 of which are Republican, the remaining 9 being Democrat, would most likely cast its vote for John McCain. On the other hand, the state of New Jersey, with its 13 members of the House of Representatives, 7 being Democrat, the remaining 6 being Republican, would most likely cast its vote for Barack Obama. The question this year is which state will decide who the President of the United States will be. In the year 2000, it was Florida. And in 2004, it was the state of Ohio. In 2008, it might be Pennsylvania, or Colorado, or Missouri, or it might be the state of New Hampshire with its 4 electoral votes that decides who gets to that magic number of 270 electoral votes. We are here at Ridge Street School in Newark, one of Essex County's polling sites, and I'm with some Ridge Street School students. The decisions we make on Election Day will shape their future, and our participation at the voting booth will set an example for them. Let's honor the many Americans who, during our 232-year history, have fought to preserve our freedoms, including our right to vote, by making it to the polls on November 4th. This is an historic year for our country, a chance to show the rest of the world how democracy works. So, Essex County, on November 4th, let's make sure to vote, and together we can make democracy work.